there, lovely people. Welcome back to our humble home DIY. And in this video, I'll be DIYing this little table here. I'll be recycling it for me to use in the spare room that I'm doing up. I wallpapered it in one previous video, and so I need something in there for it. I never had anything and I never wanted to buy anything, so I'll be doing this little piece up for that room. So this little table had been sitting for over a year. I would have had this, and I really didn't. I'd actually sanded the top, where you saw me sanding. I'd done this so long ago I don't even remember, and I put it aside and I thought I don't want to make it over. I just couldn't be bothered. I knew that it wouldn't really sell probably, and if it did sell, no one was going to pay very much for it. And so I thought I was sort of over actually doing my furniture makeovers, and I haven't done one for a while, and I guess that was the reason too. But I needed something for the spare room, and I never had a little bedside table. I didn't want to go out and buy one, so I thought I'm just going to make over this really quickly. Normally with my furniture makeovers that I sell, I go to great extremes to make them over, prepare them really well by scuff sanding and priming, paint, I top coat, I wax and all that sort of thing. But this particular one, because it was just for me and in the spare room, I just did the very bare basics that I had to do. I didn't scuff sand, I didn't prime, and I started to put the paint on. So it looked pretty bad the first coat, but the first coat or the primer always does look pretty bad. So I just continued to keep painting just to see how many coats it would take to actually cover this. So I've just taken the tape off. Hi. And I'll just sand little bits like that back. Actually, with that tape, it was like a packing tape, not a masking tape. Secured it really, really well. There's just a few little bits. That's okay. And so this is a 7th coat, so three to 4 coats of paint initially. Then it was still bleeding through, so oh my goodness, I've made a mess. I just slapped it on.
She made a mess.
2 coats of primer because it was yellowing, and then another coat of paint, and I figure by 7 coats, if it's still yellowing, there's nothing I can do about it. I should have got enamel primer, but that's okay because no one's going to see it anyway. So I'll just let that dry, and I'll whitewash the top and then put a stencil on it. Then I'll do the handle, and then that will be all done. So I just gave the top a sand on the edges where the paint had bled through under the tape. It always does, like I always put the tape on, it always does bleed through in spots, but it makes such a huge difference putting the tape on and saves you a lot of sanding back and work afterwards. For the handle, I never really had anything that I mean, I have a lot of handles, but I never had anything original. I wanted to make an original handle out of this little tassel, and it was from a Kmart tassel garland they used to sell in the party section. And so I threaded some jute cord through it, threaded some beads that are also from Kmart, and I made a little handle, and I wanted to make something a little bit bespoke, something a bit different, and something original and specifically for me. And I have used these tassel handles before, and I think they look really cute. So that's what I did here, and so I threaded the jute through and I tied it up at the back. I wanted to cover those little holes there though, like I hadn't filled them up with wood filler. So I bought these little glimmer chips, they're called. They're like cardboard, but they're little, like you have like decal type of things. There's like butterflies and birds and leaves and trees and that sort of thing. And I thought maybe I could find some little pieces to actually stick over the hole, and it would not only cover the hole, but it would sort of decorate it as well and make it look a little bit more original. So that's what I did. I found some little birds, some little doves, and I just glued them over the hole, and that did the trick. I whitewashed the top using white paint and water, just watering it down. You can do any color that you want really, but I just wanted to lighten this timber, and I think I did 2. From what I remember, I did 2. I might have just been 1, and I really like the look of it. And I really wish that I had just stopped here and not done the stencil, but I was sort of determined to do a stencil, and I was just looking here at which stencil to do. All of these stencils I've made myself. This was a silkscreen stencil. The first one was a 7mm mylar stencil, and this one was made out of 4mm mylar. And all of these I have as videos in my stencil series, so you can go and have a look if you like any of these to see how I made them. But yeah, I wasn't sure which one to do. In the end, I picked the first one that I had put on. It was one I had wanted to do, and so I thought I just want to do it and try it out and see what it looks like. So I started to put that on. It's a repetitive stencil, so I can fill the whole top. I just have to match where it joins up. The reason I put the tape on is twofold: to hold the stencil in place so it doesn't move, but also to have a bit of a border and barrier in case I roll over the edge of the stencil so it doesn't get on the table. This isn't the normal roller I use when I do my stencils. This roller actually was from a gloss paint when I did the door, and so it held a lot more paint than my high density foam roller normally does. So it was a little bit darker. Like, I like the stencils a little bit more patchy than this, and I wasn't a fan of this when I had finished it. I just wasn't a fan at all. So what I did was I sanded it, tried to sand it back, and then I whitewashed over it to make it a bit more subtle. I am sorry I did that. In the end, I should have just, because after I'd done this I didn't like it, I should have just walked away and come back again later to see how I felt about it instead of rushing into trying to change it, because looking at it after I'd finished here, when it's playing back, I quite liked it actually. So I really wish I had just left it as it was, but you know, that's a lesson learned. If you don't like something, maybe just before doing anything drastic, just walk away and come back a bit later and then reassess, which I've done a few times before. But you can also see that there are, you can see the joins in there as well, and I didn't really like that either, but it was just for me in the end, so I thought it really doesn't matter. So like I said, I started to sand it back, thinking that it would sand back smoothly and almost disappear, and so the pattern would be more faded, but it didn't really work that way. The paint had stuck firmly to the top. So what I did was, after I did this, I whitewashed it and just tried to make the pattern a little more subtle. It did work in the end. Ultimately, I was pleased with it. I ended up doing 2 more coats of whitewash and it all worked out okay. So it's in the spare room now and it's really cute. Tell me what you think. Should I have done this or should I have just left it the way it was? I'm not sure. I do like it now though. It's fine. And it looks cute in the spare room. Thanks for watching and stay tuned for a preview of next week's video. I will see you all in my next video and have a great week. Bye for now. So it is standing up all good. This is a bigger one. I will have to be careful when I'm painting it, just to hold it maybe. But yeah, it's standing up fine because the top of the bedpost is sort of square. You don't want any paper peeling off. I'm applying my maxi nails to the back of the arches, making sure again that I spread it right over to the edge and just placing it over the wallpaper and making sure it fits and it's all even and neat.